JLPT is every Japanese learner's nightmare. JLPT is useful, but it's not a silver bullet. It won't solve all your problems. It can get you an interview, but it can't get you a job. It can get you a visa, but it's not going to make you happy in Japan. If you stick with me in this video, I want to help you make sure you've defined your goals properly. I'll be giving you 3 tips that will shave years off your studies. Let's get started. When whoever it was that made JLPT came up with the system, they more or less arbitrarily organized words simple in N5 and what they considered to be difficult in N1. If your goal is to move to Japan, have conversations with people, to be able to go to the store and buy stuff or understand what someone is telling you, JLPT is not going to help you. While JLPT goes from easy to hard, life doesn't unfold that way. Some of the first words you learn when you get to Japan are not N5 words, they're N2 words or N1 words. If you're not living in Japan, you don't feel this disconnect. More and more Japanese language learning students can cheat the test because they understand the meaning of the kanji, and in most cases they can guess the correct answer. As a measure of your fluency in Japanese, JLPT is essentially useless. Now, does that mean that JLPT itself is useless? Absolutely not. But you can't think of it as an answer to your dream of becoming fluent in Japanese. It is an answer to your dream of getting a visa or getting a specific job. When we redefine our goals, you need to ask yourself, what do you want JLPT for? If you want it to get into a specific school, go for it. If you want it to get a specific job, go for it. If you want it for a specific visa, go for it. And if that's the case, I will be giving you some tips to shave years off of studies. So stick around. What does that mean for everyone else that doesn't have those goals? Does that mean you should stop studying JLPT? Not necessarily. You have to understand that JLPT takes Japanese completely out of context in the highest high context culture and language in the world. Between 60 and 80% of Japanese is contextual. It's depending on the context, people's relationships, shared understanding, shared history, shared culture, gestures, pauses in the communication, all sorts of nonverbal cues. And when 60 to 80% of the language being communicated is in this unspoken language, you are severely handicapping yourself by only studying words and grammar structures that are offered through JLPT courses. You're going to need context. Context requires an understanding of human interactions and relationships. The meaning of words will change significantly depending on the context that it said it and the people who have said it and the relationship between them. I would recommend watching longer stories, watching series, watching TV shows, anything that allows you to see human relationships being developed. If you can do that alongside your JLPT studies, and you find time to find some conversation partners and actually get speaking practice in, go ahead and keep the JLPT. It's a good way to learn new vocabulary, and it also keeps you on track. It gives you goals. As promised, for those of you who stuck around, these are my top 3 tips for shaving years off of your JLPT studies. My first tip is, 1, do not practice writing kanji. You will waste years of your life practicing how to write kanji when in reality you will never have to write kanji ever. You won't even have to write it on the JLPT exam itself. If you can recognize kanji, you can pass the test, which is the same reason why all those Chinese students can get N1. They just recognize the kanji. How do you recognize? Instead of practicing writing kanji, practice writing radicals. The radicals are all those little bits and pieces of the kanji that are reused and repeated in every other kanji. And this is actually how Japanese people learn kanji themselves. Instead of memorizing kanji themselves, just memorize the parts because they repeat themselves and they're just put together in different combinations. If you learn them, it will help you recognize and memorize kanji more easily. Tip number 2, how many times have you found yourself writing down a new word in your notebook, only to forget it a day later, seeing it pop up? You know it, but you can't remember what it is. You pull out your notebook, you write it down again, only to repeat this process over and over again. You remember, you forget, it never locks into your memory. When I was first learning Japanese, a word wouldn't actually sit in my memory until I experienced it in real life. We now have this amazing technology called artificial intelligence. You can use JLPT, you can use Copilot, you can use Perplexity, you can use whatever you want to, but this is how you prompt it. I am currently studying Japanese related to whatever. If it's it's about elections, for example, senkyo. I am studying Japanese related to the topic of senkyo. Find me links to Japanese news sources or Japanese television about this topic. It will give you links to YouTube videos or other videos online where you can then go hunting for the words that you've been studying. It is so much cooler in the shade. Tip number 3 is for those of you who have time. If you have time to reach your JLPT goals, you don't need it this year or next year, then this advice is for you. Don't start with JLPT, finish there. If you start with JLPT, you're going to be getting a lot of random Japanese words that don't make a lot of sense and you don't know how they're used in context. You won't understand what's important, what's not important, and it's not going to be a lot of fun. If you start learning from conversation partners, learning spoken dialect, learning from content that you're absorbing on TV or the internet, it's going to be a lot more fun, and you're going to start learning how basic conversation works. After you have a basic grasp on how this stuff works, you can come back to JLPT. JLPT will be great. It will help you memorize massive amounts of new vocabulary, which you will know how to use and how to put into context. On a personal note, this was actually me. I did not ever sit down and study for JLPT. Well, I studied in school, but mostly I was studying Japanese just in real life with Japanese friends, with real people living in Japan. I didn't even really know much about JLPT until I met a coworker that had N1, and I was blown away because his Japanese was terrible. I couldn't understand, wait, is N1 the lowest one or the highest one? Because I couldn't figure out how in the world this guy got N1. So that was really what started it for me. How can someone have JLPT N1 and not be able to speak Japanese? For someone like him, it would have probably benefited for him to start somewhere else and to finish with JLPT. People who start out there, actually in Japan, learning from Japanese content and then finishing at JLPT are much stronger speakers, are much more fluent in the Japanese language. 1, don't study kanji, but do study the radicals. Number 2, use AI to help you go word hunting. Number 3, if you have time, don't start with JLPT, but finish there. Those are my tips. Anyone who has JLPT coming up next month, best of luck. Leave a comment down below of your experience with JLPT. We'll be putting up new videos every week, so be sure to like, subscribe. See you guys next week, and hopefully we can all start thriving in Japan.